Data tracking is a really important part of behavior therapy with our dogs. And it's important for a few reasons. Probably the most important is because we need to see if what we're doing is working. We need to see that the frequency of the behavior in question, the intensity of that behavior, and the duration of that behavior are decreasing. Now, because I work with dogs with dysregulated nervous systems, there's usually not just one behavior that we're targeting. And so this is something that we want to see across the board. But let's just use for an example, let's say I have a dog who in part reacts to sights and sounds outside of the house. I want to see that over time, the frequency of their reactions, the number of times they're reacting per day is going down. I want to see that the intensity of that reaction is decreasing. So maybe they used to charge towards the window, hackles up, super tense, adrenalized, unable to hear their humans calling them away, unable to take food. And now I'm seeing that they jump up and bark and can process the sound of being called away and can come take food. So I want to see that the intensity of the reaction is decreasing. And we want to see that the duration is decreasing. So maybe it used to take, they would be losing their bananas and it would go on for a good 5-10 minutes. And now they bark and are able to be called away and they're back to a more relaxed state in 30 seconds. Part of that is also measuring resilience. So I should see in my data tracking through the behavior therapy work that my dog is bouncing back from stress events faster. So if it used to ruin the rest of the walk when my dog saw another dog and became stressed, can they now come back to themselves within 5 minutes? If it used to ruin the rest of the week, if we had visitors over, are they able to get back to themselves by the end of the day? So are we seeing an increase in resilience to stress? And then we also want to see improvement in the ability of the dog to self-regulate. So are we, over time, able to reduce our management and reduce our intervention as the human because the dog is able to access coping skills and support themselves? So going back to the example of the dog reacting at the window, am I able to see that when I call my dog away, they immediately start sniffing or grab a toy or start drinking water? Or maybe they move themselves away. They look up at a noise and take themselves over to a safe place, a sanctuary spot, or they come find me. So data tracking is really important so that we can measure those variables and make sure that what we're doing is working. Interestingly, those are the same things we want to measure to see if behavior medication is having an impact, which we are often using in conjunction with behavior therapy for dogs with dysregulated nervous systems. But that's not the only reason that we want to keep data. Another reason is because humans in general, and this is a spectrum, but in general, we are not great at tracking where we've come from. So a lot of times, it's really common for folks to have tangible, big improvement in their dog's behaviors, in their stress levels, in relation to their dog's stress levels, to see a big improvement. But when you're having a bad day and things are really hard, it can feel like you haven't had any progress at all. And it can be really, really helpful in those moments to pull out your data tracker, however you're keeping track, and say, oh, I forgot about that. Oh, wow, interesting. Yeah, this would have been like a much bigger deal before. Or, wow, yeah, I forgot that was happening. We never see that behavior anymore. This is actually much easier. And that hope and that reflection is vital to continuing on. Now, as far as how to keep data, this can really vary. I always tell my clients, you want to keep as much information as you can without preventing yourself from doing it. And what I mean by that is there's no such thing as too much information unless you have set the bar so high that you just don't do it because it feels overwhelming. And so some of my clients keep detailed journals where they write or type what's happening. Some keep charts like in Excel or Google Sheets where they're tracking specific behaviors, giving ratings to stress responses. Some of my clients pull out their colored pencils or their markers and a calendar, and they just color the day. Today was a red zone day, today was a green zone day, and kind of watch that rainbow shift as they go. Some keep calendars on their phone, so they can do like entries specific to each day, as well as track things like medication changes, things like that. Some folks use collars like the Fi Collar or Fitbits to track, you can't track everything, but to track some things like exercise and sleep in conjunction with their data around behavior. So there are lots of options, and I think the most important piece is finding something that works for you so that you will do it. That is the most important part. So if you're not tracking data, it's never too late to start, and it is a really important piece of behavior therapy.